Welcome to Raters, Not Haters, a production of Rave Waves and the Rave Reviews Book Club. I'm your host, Shirley Harris Slaughter, coming to you from Oak Park, Michigan. It's been a couple of months since we did a show, hasn't it? We still are dealing with COVID, only it's another strain coming at us now. But it's good to be back here with all of you. Happy New Year. Today, I'm going to share my honest opinion about a fellow RRBC member's book that I recently read. And although it's a foreign concept to some, you all know that our club president, Nani Jules, is committed to ensuring that we are all honest in the reviews we hand down on each and every book we read. It doesn't matter if it's your best friend's book or if it's a book authored by your arch enemy. If it deserves 5 stars, you get 5 stars. But if it deserves 2, we hope that you will have no problem checking off those 2 stars. When we are not honest in our reviews, we hurt the authors of the books we read, and it's leading to those who will come behind us and read our reviews. This show is called Raters, Not Haters, because we rate books honestly. We don't troll our books. I'd like to acknowledge those of you who have joined me in the Rave Waves Zoom gallery today. Hello, everybody, and thanks for being here. We'd love your comments and questions about today's featured title. Feel free to utilize the chat button down at the bottom of your screen at any time throughout the show. I will also be opening up the floor for you to chime in with your own opinions of today's featured title, especially if you've read it. A teeny wave of your hand to let me know you'd like to be recognized would be appreciated. This segment of Raters Not Haters is being sponsored by And the Music Played by author Nani Jules. This is featured read in this month's The Pipeline magazine, and it has been polished and is now back online. Grab your copy today. If you read it before, please reach out to Amazon and get your new polished copy to give it a go again. It's so much better. Nani thanks you in advance for your support of her work. Today, I'm sharing my honest opinion of BRAVURA by author Lisa Kirazian. So I was confused about that name, guys. All right, here's my review. What I like is the easy pace of the story. I like the way the author places emphasis on 2 specific characters, a brother and a sister named Neil and Kate. The author follows their childhood growing up with music at the center of their lives. It continues into the prime of their lives with the usual milestones of life, getting married, having children, while advancing their musical careers. The one thing that I noticed when I was reading this book was the way the author gets into the characters, gives you a taste of them, and then gets out. And then she goes into another character, gives you a taste of that character, and gets out. Even her main characters, you only get, you're not getting a full scope, but you've got more of a scope with the full characters than you do with just her cast around her. I love the way she got into a particular character who had suddenly met this guy and instantly fell in love. There was no sex, but you could feel all the electricity. So that the way she describes the characters, you know, and I was surprised with BRAVURA. It took me the longest time to sit down and read it because the title didn't turn me on. And so I said, oh, okay, here I go. I'm going to try to read this book. And I found myself falling in love with it. And I kept, you know, I didn't get to go straight through to read because life is in the way and everything, but I kept wanting to go back. And that's the key. So, and I would go back and I would read. And then I can't wait to get back to it to read some more. So that, to me, is the mark of a good author when she does that to you. The only concern I had was when she went from one scene to another with no warning whatsoever. you didn't separate the paragraphs so that I was kind of stumbled into them suddenly. And she's talking about such a person right now. So you just have to work on your formatting as far as that goes. So you have to space your paragraphs and stuff so the reader knows where you're at all time. But despite this, the read was enjoyable, like I said, from beginning to end. The author has the ability to keep you engaged with each of her characters, like Anne's infatuation with Neil, which never gets to be realized. And then Neil goes on to marry another woman instead of Anne, whom I felt she should have married, because I got to know Anne because she was Kate's best friend. I felt that she was the one that should have married. Okay, so, but you get the hint of something coming down the pike. There are the scenes where you think that they're going to get into the sex, but she doesn't actually describe it, but you're so into it, you feel like you had an orgasm, even though you didn't have one. That's a good writer. But I figure like this, maybe the holes will be filled in her next books. Maybe she's taking these characters on to another story, because she does have some other books out. So I'm hoping that that's what it is, because I didn't get to know these characters the way I really wanted to. But I felt that this story could be turned into a movie. It has lots of potentials for that. But like I said, the biggest surprise to me was that I couldn't turn the pages fast enough. That is what a good book is supposed to do. So I gave it 5 stars, because like I'm telling you, I thought this book was going to be a dud, but it was not. Has anyone else read this book? You read it, Pat?
I have too, Shirley.
Oh, who am I talking to again, Pat?
I am reading it, and I just wanted to say I like the way she built the sexual tension without anything happening.
I mean,
you know, I'm waiting for these guys to get. Well, come on now, come on.
Oh my goodness!
But she does a very good job of building that up, and it reads like a musical score.
Well, one thing I can say for you, Pat, is you read your books. You read a lot of books. I'm having trouble just keeping up with trying to read. Did someone else try to come in here and I missed them?
I think that was Rox.
Rox, okay, Rox, go ahead.
No, it was an awesome book. I was just saying, yes, I really liked it, and I finished it a while ago, and I liked the tension. I hadn't thought of describing it the way you did, Shirley, but I absolutely love that.
Yeah. I think Lisa is blushing, and she wrote the book. So
I'm so glad she's here, because I don't see her in our audience that much. So I say, I bet she won't even be here.
Uh-oh, there she is.
She's right in the middle. She's awesome.
Yeah, and I know I keep the secrets all the time about what book I'm gonna, promote.
Except for today.
Yeah, because they got these names. The names are screwed up. Okay. It screwed me up.
I've read some of Bravura, and I love her characters too.
Yeah,
I really do. And what I love most about Lisa's writing is the conversation between her characters is so realistic. That to me is the mark of really good writing, because I believe that I'm there with the conversation. Mm-hmm. And I love that about her. So good job, Lisa.
Lisa, do you want to say anything?
I'm like half shocked, half embarrassment, half grateful. I'm so appreciative, you guys, of all of this great feedback. My gosh, I'm still in shock even having this happen at all. But thank you so much for those who've read it and for your insights and thoughts. I really appreciate it. I'm a playwright and a screenwriter first, so the jumping around and dialogue focus is kind of because of my background, I think, and I'm still kind of learning, how to really draw a scene out and not jump and jump and jump as if it's a film, as if I can do like a film editor and jump from scene to scene. It's still very much my tendency to to do that. And that's definitely an area I look forward to growing in as a writer. But I just really appreciate the honest feedback and the encouragement too. And the other two books do go into the stories of these
they do.
characters
So
more.
that means that
Yeah.
that means that I have to read them because I'm not satisfied.
Yeah, I actually originally wrote it as an episodic miniseries for television, and then decided to write it as a book. So I'm encouraged when you guys say it looks like it feels like it could be something you'd watch on TV or a movie, because that was my original
it does.
intention.
It feels like a love story. It feels like a love story. I thought it was going to be all about music, and I said, oh, okay, oh well, what is this? You know, I just went in not really interested in reading this book, but I was just going to read it because I had it a long time, and I knew that you knew that I had it, and so it was time for me to pull it out and brace myself for a disappointment.
If reading a book because an author knows that you have their book as the basis for anything, I'm in trouble, because I have so many books.
I do
that
too.
I'm sure they know that I have, but I promise to get to them before I die, unless I die suddenly, guys. And then,
well, you know, I'm the rater on this show, so I have no excuse. I have to read these books, and my life is just right there in front of me. So her book being a big book, I said, no, I don't have time to read this big novel. And I got spoiled reading all these short stories. So I kind of reneged and was reading the short story. Yes. But reading a long book and enjoying it the way I did, I had to bring that out. I had to let Lisa know she scored.
Oh, good. I'm sure she appreciates that. Lisa, in regards to the issue that you say you have in the area of writing, I'm going to send you something later for you to look at that might help you.
Naya.
Okay. You're
Thank
very
you.
welcome.
Thank you, Naya. I appreciate all the ways you encourage all of us.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Is there anyone? All right. I'm looking at the chat room. Let's see what's in here. I haven't had a chance to look in there. And I think
while you're looking, Rox would like to say something.
Okay, go ahead, Rox.
So Shirley, I know that you thought the music aspects of it would put you off, but I have to say, Lisa, since you're on here, that the music aspects for me were, I mean, it was perfect. It was well formed. It was, and maybe it's because of the background of music that my kids have and things, that it was very good.
Well, you know, it wasn't, I wasn't turned on because I thought she was going to be talking about music, which I don't know. I love music, but I don't know enough about it to want to read somebody's life. Okay. I didn't even know, I just had no idea how she was going to do it, because all I could see was bravura, and that in her background, she had music. And I said, okay, fine, Lisa, we don't want to hear about music. Like I said, I love music, but not to the degree where I would go out and get a book and read it.
Honestly,
not unless
Shirley,
they're famous.
I think I may have felt the same way when I looked at the book. Initially, I did, until you start to read Lisa's writing, then you're in it. You're in it, and you can't get out of it because her characters are amazing. Seriously.
Yes.
So anyway, I think I may have felt if a cover turns me off, it's probably going to take me a while to get into a book. The cover has to be amazing for me. And I'm not saying that her covers were not. I'm just saying it was, when I read the blurb, or I can't remember, or something, and music, I was like, okay. But listen, for anybody else who might feel that way, and I'm going to call Shirley and I lazy in that regards and are thinking, but the book is really, pick up Lisa's books.
Yes.
You will not regret it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I think we're getting off to a better start of critiquing these books. It's a learning process, even for me, because I was a spoiler at some point because I wasn't doing it correctly, you know, but I want to do it in a way so that people will run out and get the book. And at the same time, they don't know enough about it. That's why they're running out to get it. Okay.
Good.
You know, I was encouraged by some people who had read it when it first came out, who hated classical music and opera
Yeah.
even, and said they still enjoyed it because they felt like they could relate to the people. And that was my hope, is that even if you don't know or care about the classical music world, we can still relate to the things that all of us want. We want love, we want acceptance, we want to make a difference in this world. We want to, we want to go after our dreams, and we have struggles and to make ends meet or whatever it is, that people would at least be able to relate to that part of it. And see that these folks who practice 16 hours a day are not from another planet. They're people like anyone else, but they're in a world that maybe we don't always think that we could relate to, but we might be surprised.
Well, what I like about this club is that you're forced to read in different genres, whereas I would have been stuck in one genre only, and it would have included your type of book, because I love romance, and I love drama and dramatics. I didn't even like fantasy until I read Yvette's book, and I just fell in love with her. I was her #1 fan after I started to read her story, because she knew how to. I guess you have to know how to work those characters and tell your readers who they are and how they interacted. Then you got to have all this imagination. So I admire all writers who can do that. And but you were telling your story, Lisa, from the perspective of a true life story.
Well, not exactly. It's not autobiographical, but I grew up playing music and grew up in a musical family and was in an orchestra for many years. And so the auditioning and the performing and the nervousness and the competitiveness with other people, all of that is very much part of my life for many years. But I just sort of took it into a different time period and just sort of set it and did the research for that time period, because I thought it would be an interesting time period when, music is changing with the British rock invasion and Vietnam and all these other things going on, while this classical music is still plugging along, but it's still young people are still doing it and relating to it, and while the world is changing around them. So I just thought it would be an interesting time period instead of just my own time period. But I never got to the world stage or anything like that. I still play when I can, but it was my family very much was an inspiration musically for me, but it's not quite autobiographical, just inspired by.
Now, this is your parents here?
Yes, my parents are here too, and my sister, it looks like. But yes, they are, and they are a huge influence on me, and appreciate all the ways that hearing them talk about music, discuss it, play it, compose it. In my dad's case, just all of that really informed, who I am musically and as a person overall, as a writer too. So I appreciate their example so much.
So I'll be able to look forward to more of these characters in some of your books that you've written.
Yes, if it takes a lot of psyching up to read it, I understand. If you thought this one had a lot of innuendo or indirect, the second one is a little more overt, let's just say. So
yeah, I would love to. I'm going to go to book #2 and see what that is. But I just don't have enough time in my life to read like I want to. Even though we had COVID, seemed like I was busier than ever, and she was excited to learn that I was doing a show. And I said, yeah, I've been doing it for several years now with this club, this beautiful club that our dear Nani Jules put together.
Because clearly she had nothing else to do. And we know that's not the truth.
I can beat myself up because I have too much to do. Why am I getting into this? But I just hate to complain and complain and complain, and the country's going down the tube because
that's okay. We're just excited that you make time to read the books that you do, so that you're able to put on this fabulous show that everybody looks forward to, because you never know if your book is going to be discussed, which is why it's always good to show up to Raters Not Haters, because you never know, we could be discussing your book on any particular Saturday. So I'm so glad that Lisa made it today with us, and I'm glad, that those of us who have read some of Lisa's book have enjoyed it. And if you haven't, the link is over in the chat. Please run out and get a copy. I think Lisa has 3 books in the series right now, right, Lisa?
Yes.
But you might want to start with the one that we discussed today.
Mm-hmm.
And let us know what you think about it in the comment section of the site. And please do leave an honest review on
Yes.
Amazon.
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm
because-
gonna let Shirley
and-
close up her show.
Yeah, you know, when I do an honest review, you better believe it's honest, because y'all know I'm a stark critic. I am not joking. I'm not going to say somebody's book is good when it's not. I'm going to say it's not good, and I'm going to tell them why.
Good job. Just be honest. That's what it's all about. And you can expect that Shirley is going to really tell you what she feels about your book. So
Exactly.
if you don't want to know what Shirley feels about your book, you might want to pull it out of the catalog before she gets to it, and she pops up on Raters Not Haters and tells the world what she feels about your book. Good or bad, you know, I have no problem with the truth. So let's just be honest about, you know, every book, and I've said this before and I will continue to say this, every book we read cannot be a 5-star read. Okay,
That's
let's
exactly
be honest.
true.
It's just like every book we read cannot be a 1-star book. So, you know, when I see people constantly handing down every book as a 5-star, I'm saying to myself, okay, they have no clue as to what they're doing.
And you can't
I'm gonna
trust.
be honest. I don't trust those reviews at all. Every book. I mean, I've had people to read books, to rate books again, you know, 5-star, and I know these books didn't even deserve to be on the chart.
Mhm.
So anyway,
Okay.
catalog.
Is there anyone else that wants to say anything? Raise your hand, let me know, or unmute yourself before we get ready to sign off.
Just thank you again for all of your encouragement and feedback. And something else strikes you, please send it to me or email me, because I always love to get your feedback and your thoughts. And I really am encouraged and inspired by all of your examples too. You're all great writers. I've read most of you and looking forward to reading more of you. And I really appreciate the example that you share with all of us, and Nani especially. Thanks you guys again.
And that's what we're all about. Okay, thank you again, my studio audience, for tuning in to this episode of Raters Not Haters. We hope to see you back here next when I share my honest review of another book. It could be yours. So we hope to see your face in the audience. But we hope to see you even if the book isn't yours. That's how we support at our RBC. I'm your host, Shirley Harris Slaughter, signing off from our Zoom studios. This is Rave Waves, where all things literary are our passion. Goodbye.